Welcome, such a warm welcome to the Elven Starlight, Immortal Starlight pod number 16. And this one is hard for me to make, and I will share why, but I actually made this one a couple of days ago, and I was recording it early because it's my partner's birthday on Friday, on the day that it becomes live. So I really wanted to make sure I had lots of time free for his birthday and for preparing for it. And this most beautiful pod came through of the white reindeer. And when I start a pod, when I start recording it, I have both a sense of what wishes to be shared, but also a great sense of the unknown, and often a feeling like I have no idea if I really have something to share. So it's quite a mysterious and a paradoxical state of, feeling this shimmering gift, tides of information within, and also a sense of, gosh, I wonder really if anything will come, if it's coherent, if it's true, if I dare to share this, all these kind of layers. And whenever, and it has happened to me before, when a teaching that I create, whenever I do it in my own time and record it onto sound or video, it's happened before that the recording in some way doesn't record right, which is what happened with this one. It recorded, and when I came to upload it, it had no sound on it, only the video. And I could see all of the beautiful energy in the space, and I could feel it. So much of the miracle of the white reindeer flowed through, and I myself was in awe as I received the beauty of that teaching. And it is often the way, like when I share and I create teachings, I can feel, I'll come away, I'll be aware of a limit point of, gosh, I can already think of how much more I would have loved to share or expand or have said this differently as my consciousness, awakens, evolves, even as I step forth from that space, and there is learning. But also I'm often in wonder by the particular way that things come through, and even I am receiving and learning as I speak, as the consciousness moves through. And this happened with the white reindeer that I recorded a couple of days ago. And so I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken to lose that. I was so excited to give it to you and to share that pod. And it's been a week where I have, anyway, probably since about Sunday, I would say the tide really, really started changing for me. And I felt this, oh my gosh, like an irreversible pull within. And as though that very deep inner magnetic lunar current of my being ignited that wild feminine innermost depth, and I just, suddenly being in the outer world has been much, much more challenging, doing all the things I need to do. Even getting up in the morning, I'm sleeping very, very, very deeply, and I awaken, I put it this morning when I was sharing, it's like I need a crane to lift me up from the pillows. I'm so deep and far away. And so the thought of, in this faraway state that I've gone into, in this innermost place of receiving, to come out of myself again, to share, to bring forth this beautiful teaching of the white reindeer, just felt so painful and reminded me of, and so hard, and almost like I can't do it again. So I did, and I often have this when teachings are lost. It's happened before with the recording settings. It's something that really, really, really upsets me, and I think it relates to what it takes to express, to speak from this place. And it still to me feels like a miracle that I am able to, that it takes place, that there is this expression from here. And it's both what I long to do, and there is also fear there in so doing, of letting down the incredible beauty and wisdom of the dimensionality that I speak of. A fear that my conscious self won't be able to carry the currents that are moving through, and to be able to meet that deepest reality and speak it. And so it always feels quite immense. And when I've created it, I feel so grateful. And I've often moved through that in order so to do. And it relates to a feeling, you know, as I came this morning to record again, that yeah, it's to come even deeper into a trust. I can feel that one within, and I think for so many of us it is the way, or has been the way, that this knowing far within can feel separate from what we can articulate, with what we can share with those around us. That we may record it, you know, in other ways, that we carry it in us in other ways, but to truly speak this, which is such a longing. I believe it's a primordial longing of our being, this expression of that which we truly are. You know, we register that there are other longings, we register all kinds of other longings, but that this longing of expression of our truth could be as primordial, as innermost and firstmost within ourselves as others, the desire to love, to be loved, all of these primordial desires. Yeah, and so it is, and through the early part of my life, what's so amazing about being in this moment, that I'm creating this right now, that will be a video that I'm so excited to put on YouTube again. If you're watching it, you may be watching it from there. That will be on the podcast, that is amazingly on iTunes and Spotify and so forth. Just amazing what we can create now. Just amazing. And that fulfills our primordial longing to express, to connect, to be that which we are, to give the gift of that which we are into this world. All of it there, but wow, what fears and confusion can lie at that gateway of so doing. And what then a primordial battle it can feel like between that desire to express all of that beautiful creational light within us, and the fear that somehow we'll get too confused or lost, that the beautiful truths and realities we hold within somehow won't translate, won't come through our bodies, our voices, you know, won't arrive here to be gifted one to another. And as a child, I made vows of silence. You know, when I was very small, I would rub my eyes all the time. So when I came into a big group of people, not all the time, not when I was on my own, but I would rub my eyes just the whole time like this, because I felt then if I couldn't see them, they couldn't see me. It was a way of vanishing, until I had a nanny who told me that she knew a little girl whose eyes had actually popped back into her head from doing that. And well, that made an impression. In retrospect, I don't think she did know a little girl who that had happened to, but I definitely didn't want that to happen, so I stopped doing that. So yeah, again, that utter threshold of confusion of how can I be present in my energy in this world? And then a bit later on in childhood, I remember there was a pivotal point when around the family dining table, I must have been, oh gosh, I can't remember exactly in truth, but maybe around 12, something like this, maybe earlier, maybe a bit younger. But there was just a moment, my two older brothers are like 10 years older than me, and my father, and they're both so funny. They're all so funny, so witty and intelligent, and they'd have this repartee around the table. And my sister and I, 10 years younger, you know, we would try and launch in, join in. And I remember just one too many times of being laughed at or mocked or made to feel a bit stupid for what I'd said. And if you know the English humour, it often is like that, very ironical and mocking. It can be very dry, and it wasn't meant personally. It was part of the banter and the nature of the repartee. But as a child, I took it very, very personally. There was some crescendo point, and I remember it was like a deep inner, you know, we can use our creational light like this at times. It was a deep inner decision. I don't want to experience this pain again. From now on, I shall hold my silence whenever I'm in a group, and especially in the family group. I'm not going to speak. And I kept that vow for years. that when everyone was all together, I just wouldn't. I generated this shield of silence and of protection, like a deep, deep inner decision. And then that rippled through at school. I just stopped ever putting my hand up in any class, ever speaking. And I would have teachers asking me, and asking repeatedly if I would, voice and share. And I just refused. I just couldn't. I had generated such a powerful decision, really, of resistance within my own being. And the longer I held it, the longer it built, and the bigger the fear was, the field of fear that built around releasing it. So that even sometimes when the pulse of, I just remember sitting in history class longing, I would feel the answer within me, and my little arm probably like just, the instinct to put it up and to speak, and I couldn't. By that point, it wasn't even a decision, it was in charge of me, and I felt like it was something I couldn't break through. So to be in a moment in my life where I am, creating videos, and I teach and I share, and I'm, because when I was very, very small, and I've spoken of this before, already very shy, eyes going back into my head, if I was asked what I would, not actually going back into my head, rubbing them, that if I was asked what I would love to be, I would always say, I would love to be a pop star. So, and Kylie Minogue was my absolute role model, if you know her, just from watching Neighbours and things when I was small. And so I wanted to be this golden, shining one, sharing, and, sharing the songs of love and, of passion, of our being, and to share that. And I used to sing at night when we were put to bed, and I had my window in London looking out on the night sky of stars and the lights of the city below. I've probably spoken of this before, mirroring one another. It's like a continuum, the lights of the city, and then there was a church with a spire that would blink at the top, that warning light for the aeroplanes going over, and then the stars, so literally merging one into another, which is so much, amazingly, I mean, that was one of my earliest memories, and of course that is so much the legacy of the Elven remembrance, which is of this oneness of the lights of earth and the stars beyond. And I remember singing these songs to God and to Jesus, who I felt absolutely with me and of me. And I was raised by an atheist father, and my mother definitely believing in God, but she would never, in a very English, probably more conventional way, and don't put that upon anyone, that's sort of, quietly held. So I don't think I ever had any pressure of any kind. And my father, in fact, atheist. But it was a very direct and rapturous connection that established itself. And I felt the presence of God, and this deep, this ancient sorrow and joy that would course through me, and these songs of this love. And I remember feeling as a child, I don't understand myself how this consciousness that feels so old exists within me, that I feel as if these great stories exist within my being, and a knowing that is of this vast cycle of sorrow and of joy both, and this love, this mystic love. And I used to feel the presence of Jesus, and I just couldn't understand. I would get very confused trying to think about, because he felt to me like a brother. I felt like a sister of his, as though we were a continuum, somehow linked, related, not that he was beyond in some way. And I felt very confused by that sense. I thought, does that mean I think I'm special? I'm the chosen one? I'm part of the chosen one? That I couldn't make sense of that. And in the space also of feeling deeply unrecognized and unseen, it became like a secret that I carried within. Will someone one day see me? Will I be seen? Will I be recognized, as the one who I am, as the light that I am? And such a longing, but also a fear of being seen. It was like my most secret desire, but also my deepest fear, because it felt it would be so penetrating in a sense to be truly seen, because you're not used to that when you've had those shields building around you and you're just far away in your realm. You don't have that experience of being seen. It's that aliveness of that. And so as the journey of remembrance has taken place, it has been such a beautiful thing to release that secret legacy of that wandering, and that longing. Because I think in a sense it's quite different from the little girl who wanted to be the pop star, to shine and to express this love. I think in some way, in truth now, I know that that is very pure. That is part of that primordial longing to express the deep beauty and the knowing of creation, the wisdom, one to another, between us, that it flow and be shared. It's just primordial. It's the way of love. It's the way that we are, part of how we are here. But that desire to be that one and the only one that grew in that secret far silence, no, that was not quite so of that pure longing. That was from deepest lostness and separateness and loneliness, and not understanding how this divine light that I am is here, because we don't have a story. We haven't had a story. And yet we do now, as I speak that. That is what is being remembered, is coming back through us, of the many as the one, of the lamps, the many lamps and lights, the infinite lights and lamps of creation that we are lighting and returning, and how our interconnected gifts through worlds shine one to another, and how our magnificent swan feather to swan feather wing in vastness and angelical presence is linked one to another. And that by expressing our deepest immensity and light and specialness, we link most deeply one to another, not becoming some secret and special other, but in truth connecting more deeply and fully and ever before than in any other way, through that immensity that we hold within, and that is who we are. And so these times that we are in are so special, that there is now this archetypal resonance in the field where we can feel and imagine and remember such a collective awakening, such a collective Christed and crystalline light one with another. And so, yeah, when I made a vision board about, this kicked off in November probably last year, of the celestial blueprint and timeline that I'm working with now. I was on Canva, which is this gorgeous little super easy graphic design tool that you can create with even if you don't have skills. It's just a little recommendation there if you'd love something like that and you don't know about it. It's Canva, Canva. I've loved it because I'm very visual, and for like the Elven teachings, or for throwing together my own images to inspire me, I love to be able to bring things together, but lightly so, and to generate a mirror, a hologram of my innermost reality to be mirrored back to me. So it's been magical to have that. And with that, I just threw together this little board which had like an elven-looking kind of anime rock star figure at the heart, and speaking into a microphone, and then like the lighted, the sort of beautiful kind of lit strobe lights. Well, I say beautiful, but they like almost pink and yellow coming in a glow, and both what is and is not that longed for space of that spotlight. And it's taken me so long to feel that and own that, I guess, be truthful in myself with that, yeah, I long, you can see that, so I've got my microphone here, to switch on that microphone, to speak and to share, and not so that I can be the only one, the only pop star or the light that everyone looks to, but so that I can connect and be that which I am within the here and now, in this very moment, and be part of this arising new earth, new dawn, be a light in this golden dawn that is composed of 1,000,000 lamps. And as each one of us switches on, I can feel how the collective illumination just brightens and brightens. All the realms are lit by us sharing. And yet so often we may have been taught to judge or question or wonder that desire in us to light up, to shine, to express. So, yeah, but to come full circles to where I first shared from, which was speaking of something quite opposite, really, which is, yeah, an innermost place where actually it all feels so far and held in a far silence. Like, how would we even begin to express all the mystery of what is known and yet unknown within us? And it is so far and so beautiful, and it is a very tender threshold to step across, to, to become visible, even though it's a longing, to become heard, to speak, even though it's a longing to express. And so I've really come to that again this week by that first pod. Did I say that it's number 16 at the beginning? This Immortal Starlight pod 16, of it vanishing first time around, and really reigniting the farness, the feeling of farness, and of a silence that maybe I can't breach or can't speak across. And in that space, part of why this receiving energy has felt so strong this week, this is my feeling of this, and this is the teaching I've received, is that truly this lunar magnetical current has switched on within the self, that what we received through the Ostara Stargate, what came in, what we fused with as we came through that Stargate, the archetypal leap, the beautiful blueprint that is completing through at this time, the aspect of ourselves that is really coming in now, that was fused with, received through the Stargate as it is, as that is the nature of the Stargate itself. We fuse with that returning swan feather of our greater swan feather cloak, interdimensional soul star presence. We come in through, we fuse. But that's not where it stops. On the other side of that Stargate, of that fusion, there is then the drinking in, the receiving of that through every fibre of our being and all of our bodies. And that as it fuses within us, our lunar magnetic current, if you like, within our being, that is also a current within the earth. You can really feel it within the sacral, within that sacral center just below the navel, where it feels to me, it really pulls from, like the moon pulling the tides. You can feel it from there, that as this encodes with that incoming swan feather, that celestial blueprint, as we fuse, the pure light of the new blueprint, returning blueprint, is then able to call in the rest of it. It's the full snowflake, the full crystalline pattern, if you like, through every sphere of our being. And it's effortless. We are in a very effortlessly magnetic state. But it can also feel, it's very, very tender. It doesn't make us feel like, you don't feel like going out and giving, sort of beaming out there so much. There is this profound receiving that is happening. And so with that, and I won't talk forever, I just complete the tide of this pod with this, that what is happening, it feels to me, is that blueprint is being received through all of the bodies, through the physical body. Our organs are reforming. It's so beautiful, like new organs, literally. Our mental body is reforming. If we let it, if we really let that magnetic current pull in the blueprint, it will pull it in through, cascade through our mental body, through our mind, through our thoughts, bring us new thoughts, new beliefs that are correspondent with this blueprint we're now moving into. And so too through our emotional body, new feeling, emotional patterns that correspond, synchronize feeling tones and notes with this new light of ourselves that is becoming operational, functional here. And if we try to operate really fast, say we've gone through the Stargate, we feel the energy within, and suddenly we expect all of ourselves to be functioning from here. And yet what might happen, and this been happening to me, is I realize suddenly, gosh, I have the new energy inside me, but I have the old beliefs. So what I've been experiencing ever since November, when I created that board, I was given the new celestial blueprint, a shift from the golden light of myself through to this rose light, and that it is this interconnected Elven Celestial Heart presence that shares, lit heart to heart through that rose light of our hearts, through 1,000 starlight presences. And as I received this, I knew I was going to become unconditional in my gifting, in my sharing, that I would simply stop altogether being that little girl who rubbed her eyes, who didn't speak, who was utterly silent. The remnants of her that has been with me ever since, as I've gently moved through fears and shared, and a little more and a little more, it's melted. That it would be more than just a little more melting and melting, because when a new blueprint comes in, when we receive it at the level of light, the deepest light of ourselves, as I spoke of Arian Rod, the nature of the new blueprint in the last pod, if you want to look back to that, Elven Pod 15, that this is when your greater self decides from that greatest pulse of love of your evolutionary being that this is that which is now inflowing, and we open to receive that, we align with that, a becoming takes place that is so vast, so effortless at some levels, that brings the most instantaneous quantum complete change. We're just different here. It's so different to pounding away at our change and our self-improvement and altering. Yes, of course, it's like learning to drive a new car or learning to drive at all. There is a gradualness to learning how we function here with this part. But it's like I now am a being who shares unconditionally with you here. And I cannot tell you what that means as one who does remember how I came in, who I was in the early parts of my existence. It is just the most unimaginable transformation. And yet it's so complete, because it's that which has been gifted from the deepest levels of love, of that which I am destined to be here. And so as I see, in order to make such a transfiguration, and that was what came in November, and it's been moving through ever since, and I feel I'm completing into it. And this depth of receiving this magnetic current, the lunar current of my being, is really there so that can fully install. And what has been so fascinating is to see it changing my mental body particularly. I see it definitely reforming new organs, especially my heart, being given a sort of new physical heart for this. But that my beliefs are changing. And I used to have an experience with, for instance, creating the Elven newsletter or a post for social media, that it's something that I get so excited about. I mean, my crystalline and diamond light essence just lights up. It's so what I'm meant to do here, for levels nothing other than love alone. It's simply that which is just meant to share in this way. And so my being lights up with such joy about it. But then I would also experience the most severe torrent of resistance, a sense of I can't. I get so caught up. And usually then just breathing my way through, keeping connecting to that purest love. And whenever I've shared a post or a newsletter, it's because I've managed to breathe my way through and to share and to dissolve that resistance. But subsequently, the experience I've just described to you has become part of my belief that I'm going to experience that pretty much every time. So it's like, deep breath, Ellen, you're going to need to go through this process. But what I caught that is actually correspondent to the old energetic design I was experiencing, and that's not here anymore. There is a new energetics of this rose lighted presence. And so but my beliefs are formed by that old experience. And what I haven't done yet is yet let this energy, I'm expecting myself to function from this new energy, but I haven't fully received it yet. I haven't let it recode my mental body. I have to receive it and see what beautiful new beliefs it's going to generate that will then create this beautiful new feedback loop to me about these experiences. So as I've let that, so catching that I wasn't doing that and allowing the beautiful waterfall of this blueprint, of this energy, of this Elven Celestial rose-lighted heart and the thousand starlight hearts to flow through my third eye, to flow through my mind, my brain, my beliefs. And I guess the closest belief I can say that's correspondent to that one is that it's really easy and really fun to create posts and so forth. And yeah, I mean, I think my brain is still in a reconfiguration. It's so beautiful. But it feels so true. I can feel its truth, and I'm just letting that now ebb through and recode. So with that, I think what's happened for me is I see the full circle now, and I don't think I saw it till the pod completed. The reason I lost the pod the first time around, and the reason that was so painful, is that the creation of the pod connected to that old belief. I'm going to do this. It's what I love to do, but it's also going to be hard for me in some ways to do that. And that's correspondent with the old blueprint. And actually within the new one, and I did before coming this morning, that's what I shifted into as I moved through yesterday and last night. The truth is I love to do this. I really do. And it's easy and it's fun. And it's my deepest longing and blessing and gift that I so do. And yeah, I just sat here in stillness for a while before switching on the record and let myself feel that. Let the old belief ebb out. So yeah, it's been magical to share directly of this, and I understand now why I was given that beautiful teaching. And I feel so passionately, I would love that if there's a value in me being able to move from a little girl who was so profoundly silenced herself so deeply, so held so far within, and also, blocking out visibility, through to one who shares here that coding of that full return through that farthest invisibility and silencing through to expressing and being seen, shining, if so it feels, so you feel called also in any way within your existence, that coding is instantaneously and deeply gifted to you also, that you can feel that in the space of this and of what I am, that facilitates it for you also. Because I think that's the gift of the journeys each one of us has travelled through. It may have taken us all those years, but as we gift that in this now moment, this immortal, eternal, infinite now moment, we can gift that all in one, as it were. And for the generations who come, for those who receive that, they don't have to have all those years. It can be all here and all now. So much love. May you also trust the journeys that you've made and know the value of them, that they are part of your perfection also, of being able to gift, that someone else who has that challenge too can experience the unlocking through the perfection of you having walked that also, because I believe that's part of our elder light. So with so much love, I won't ramble on further for this time. Have an amazing week, and may you also experience that receiving through all the layers of your being of this new celestial blueprint that you are. So much love, and I will see you soon.